You're listening to Faith, Stewardship, and Insurance, Protecting Texas Churches. The show that gives pastors and church leaders the clarity they need to protect their people, property, and ministry.
Welcome back to Faith, Stewardship, and Insurance, Protecting Texas Churches. I'm your host, Ron Wadley, with Insurance for Texans. We help church leaders to protect their people and property with wisdom and clarity. In today's episode, we are going to address a topic that is no fun for anyone to deal with, and that is failing a church insurance inspection due to your church's electrical panel. If you've ever opened an email from your insurance company and felt that knot form in your stomach, you're not alone. Jim felt it firsthand. He serves on the leadership team at a church in Lubbock. Like many churches across Texas, they'd recently been forced to shop for new insurance after a non-renewal. They did everything right. They worked with an agent. They answered the underwriting questions. They scheduled the inspection, and then the report came back. The church failed the inspection, not because of the roof, not because of the building condition, but because of something most people never think about until it's too late: the electrical panel. The inspector flagged a Federal Pacific electrical panel as a serious safety hazard. Coverage was now in jeopardy, and Jim was scrambling to understand what this meant, how serious it was, and what the church needed to do next. If any of this sounds familiar, or if your church building was constructed decades ago, this is something you need to hear. Federal Pacific electrical panels, often labeled stab lock, were installed in thousands of buildings from the 1950s through the 1980s. At the time, no one thought twice about them, but years of testing and real-world experience have revealed a dangerous flaw. These panels have a history of breakers failing to trip when they should. In plain terms, that means when there's an electrical surge or overload, the system may not shut off. Heat builds up, wires overheat, fires start. From an insurance standpoint, that's a nightmare. Churches are already considered higher risk properties because of older buildings, large gathering spaces, and use of volunteers. When an insurer sees a Federal Pacific panel during an inspection, it's an immediate red flag. Many carriers will not bind coverage, or they will issue a cancellation notice with a deadline to replace it. And here's why this is happening more now than ever. For years, many churches stayed with the same insurance company. Inspections were minimal. Forms were basic. As long as premiums were paid, things rolled forward. But the Texas property insurance market has changed. New carriers mean new inspections, and those inspections are far more detailed. Hazards that went unnoticed for decades are now being discovered. When a church fails an inspection because of an electrical panel, the consequences can be serious. Coverage can be denied, policies can be canceled, and replacing a panel isn't cheap, but ignoring it is far more expensive. The first step is simply knowing what you have. If your church building is older and you're not sure about the electrical system, it's worth having a licensed electrician take a look at it. Replacing an electrical panel is an investment. There's no way around that. But it's an investment in safety, insurability, and long-term stability. It protects your people and your building, and it keeps your church's mission from being sidelined by an avoidable issue. This is also a reminder of a bigger lesson we've talked about throughout this podcast. Church insurance is no longer something you can put on autopilot. Inspections matter, maintenance matters, details matter, and working with someone who understands churches, not just buildings, matters more than ever. At Insurance for Texans, this is exactly the kind of situation we help churches navigate. We help you identify issues before they become emergencies, communicate with carriers, and build coverage that actually works in today's market. If your church has failed an inspection, is facing a non-renewal, or you're simply unsure what risks might be hiding behind the walls of your building, now is the time to ask questions. If you are a church leader who is worried about your church's property coverage, connect with our church insurance team at insurancefortexans.com. And if you want a clearer framework for thinking about risk, stewardship, and preparation, pick up a copy of our book, The Promise of Certainty, at thepromiseofcertainty.com. I'm Ron Wadley, And this has been Faith Stewardship and Insurance, protecting Texas churches. Until next time, remember, failing a church insurance inspection today can help your church be stronger for the future.
Thanks for listening to Faith, Stewardship, and Insurance. Until next time, remember, insurance isn't just about policies. It's about safeguarding the mission God has called you to lead.